My family did not know possibilities for women. There was no vision for women. I was the first woman to go to college, to graduate from college. I grew up in a fairly conservative and traditional family. You didn't move out. You moved out when you got married. You went from your parents' home to your husband's home. And so my ambitions and my plans and my discussions were pretty well unknown to my parents. But those sisters, who were pretty young themselves, and I don't expect particularly worldly, those sisters saw something in me that they encouraged. Texas had an overabundance of death row prisoners, many of whom had not had adequate representation at trial, who found themselves without a lawyer. And I knew the issues. I had been a prosecutor. I had worked on defense cases. I knew the law. I taught the law. I'd written law review articles. Who better than to really undertake this than someone who has access to that kind of knowledge and resource? I was the first woman to undertake death row representation in the state of Wisconsin, which did not have the death penalty. Whatever ambivalence I had was really quashed when I met him and discovered he did not match the physical description given by the victim before she died. I thought I was dealing with an innocent man. I think he had been fingered. He wasn't an innocent man. I think he had been fingered by an accomplice or by someone who was actually good for the crime, because he owed the accomplice money. And so the accomplice turned state's evidence. I was devastated. I looked at this in the only way that someone who cares can look at it. And you look at it as a certain amount of personal failure. I knew that wasn't true, but that's how I felt. I returned to teaching the day after the execution, and my class of over 100 students was deadly silent. And I looked at them and I said, at some point we will talk about this, but I can't right now. You could have heard a pin drop in that classroom. He said to me, I don't ever want you to blame yourself for my end. And then he said, say goodbye to Patrick for me and tell him to be a good boy. I look at my life and I will tell you this, if I die tomorrow, I will have considered myself among the most fortunate of people because of the experiences I've had, the people who've entered my life, this university. But you can see why, with my background, a place like this is just so special.